you here again today. My name is Emelda Chinecherem. I'm a psychologist and I'm your neighbor. Just in case you are just viewing this for the first time, you're seeing me for the first time, I want you to know that I just moved into your neighborhood and I came with a truckload of goodness. Yes. I came with goodness, and today I came with another goodness. Today I'm going to be at someone's door. Are you a student? Perhaps you want to understand what areas exist in psychology, and maybe you want to major and you're confused on which area to pick, or where your interest lies, or if your interest is actually a study in psychology. Today you're going to clear off that confusion, because I'm going to be talking about the different areas of psychology. Let's roll. If you're just joining, if you're just seeing me for the first time, I would like you to subscribe to this channel. Just click on the red button, that's all. And if you like what we're doing, if you like this video as you're watching them, please give us a thumbs up. Just like the video, share with people. You never know who needs it. Okay, that will be all for that. Now let's go into the business of the day. The different areas of psychology. There are over 20 different areas of psychology, but in this video we're going to explore 10 of them, because I don't want to overwhelm you with or bore you with so much details. I'm going to talk about the first 10, and in the subsequent video I'm going to talk about the second 10 area of psychology. Let's go in. Number one is clinical psychology. Clinical psychology is the area of psychology that studies the diagnosis, the assessment, and the treatment of mental illnesses. Clinical psychologists, they study about psychopathology, which includes psychotics and neurotics. There are psychotic illnesses and there are neurotic illnesses. Clinical psychologists major in studying these areas of illnesses, including their diagnosis, their predisposing factors, and even their etiology. Okay, the etiology, which means the causes of the illness. Clinical psychologists are not just involved in treating illnesses. They try to find out, dig up the foundation of such illness, try to find out what might cause this illness in an individual, because a different individual might be going through schizophrenia, but the causes of the schizophrenia, one could be genetic, while the other could be drug factors. It could be drug induced. So clinical psychologists are not just involved in treatment. Before they go into treating you, they try to find out what is the cause, what must have brought about this, because that is how they will try to find a way to modify your behavior in order to ameliorate the effect of such illnesses. The second area, which is number 2, we are going to explore is social psychology. Social psychology is an aspect of psychology that studies how your personality affect your interaction with other people in your environment. It studies how your own personal traits can actually influence another person's trait, how you can influence another person by another person's behavior in the environment, and how other people's behavior in the environment can actually influence yours. That is what social psychologists study. Now, the third area of psychology we are exploring is developmental psychology. That's number 3. Developmental psychology has to do with how individuals go through stages of development, okay, from the point of conception to death. Now, all these stages are important, because when you know these different stages, you are expected to be at every point in time, at every stage of your life, the things that are meant to develop. If you find issues within this developmental gap, maybe you find developmental gaps, or you find that there are some things that are not flowing well with these developmental stages, or there are issues that you are encountering while you are growing in terms of your growth modalities, physical, maybe physical growth, cognition, intellectual growth, intelligence, all these areas of growth, and you find out there is an issue, developmental psychologists help you to discover the issue and help you to employ different methods of treatment that will help you to go through these stages properly. Number 4 we are going to talk about is forensic psychology. Forensic psychology is a bridge, like a gap between psychology and law. Okay, let me give you an example. For instance, you heard that somebody committed a crime, that somebody stole, for instance, and the person is, and by the judge's verdict, the person can be sentenced to maybe 5 years, 10 years imprisonment, depending on the severity of the case. Okay, what a forensic psychologist does is that the person helps to find out if this individual is psychologically stable to go through such punishment, or if that stealing, that case, is a situation of a psychological illness that the person has been going through that is not out, that the judges or the people around him are not aware of. Some persons might actually get involved in murder, or murder someone, or commit some kind of crime, and you in your personal judgment you think that the person just premeditated on it and went into the action, whereas some persons are just people that are going through some psychological stages that makes them do this kind of things. Some suicidal ideation that people have are not as a result of maybe the person's circumstances alone. It could be some psychological effects of the circumstances they are going through. So you have to help them to treat those maladjustments first before they can serve their punishment. Else, they might die in the process or affect the psychology of other inmates in the prison. With the example that we're giving. So forensic psychologists, they apply psychological principles into what? Into the legal system. Industrial and organizational psychology. That is number 5. Industrial and organizational psychology. Industrial and organizational psychology can also be called workplace psychology. Now, this area of psychology helps gain employee satisfaction on your job. If you're a worker, for instance, they help you to gain satisfaction through different methods like motivation, like salary, like incentives, like working hours. They study different things that can help individuals that work, to gain satisfaction in their job, because you know that when employees are satisfied in their job, when they are well treated, when all the things that they need, all the incentives are put in place, they will be more effective in their job and more efficient, and that will also bring about profit for the organization, for the employer. So they also help the employers to do proper interviewing, employ the right kind of persons through selection, and place them in the kind of job they are best suited for. They help to fit the job to the man and the man to the job. That is the work of industrial and organizational psychology. They also help in settling issues that exist in different work environments, different leadership methods that should be employed in order to make the best out of a particular working environment. I hope you understand that. A little break before we proceed to the 6th one. I would like you to subscribe to this channel. If you're just joining us, subscribe. Please like this video. That is the best way you can help us to grow. Share it. You don't know who might need it. Maybe your neighbor, another neighbor of ours might need it. So please help me to share this video, so that as time goes on, we can, grow together. All right, as we bring you more feeds that would help. Number 6 is counseling psychology. Counseling psychology is always coming when there is a difficulty you are going through in the different relationships that you have. For instance, your relationship with your friends. If you're suffering in your relationship with your friends, a counseling psychologist will help you to put in or two things, or eliminate one or two things in order to help you develop a healthy relationship with your friends, with your spouse, with your employer, with different people in your life. Now, people often mistake clinical psychology and counseling psychology in a way, but counseling psychologist is someone that just helps you to resolve imagined problems in your life, so that it doesn't get to the point where you become psychotic or neurotic as a result of those problems, and which will take you to a clinical psychologist. The seventh one is community psychology. Community psychology is a domain of psychology, an area of psychology that studies how individuals belong to different social groups, and how their personality affects the social groups, and how the social groups also affect the individual's personality. Okay, now a community psychology, like I said, in social psychology is how interpersonal relationships affect you and the other person. But in community psychology, they recognize those groups that you belong to as a result of being a part of a particular group of persons. For instance, age group. How does the relationship you have with people within this age group, the laws that you people keep in those age group, affect you as a person? And how do you bring in your personality as a person? For instance, if you are quick tempered, how does it affect the decisions made in the group? And how does it affect the lives and the behavior of others within the group? That is what community psychologists engage in. Now, the ninth area of psychology is educational psychology. For those of us that are teachers, if you've watched my channel, you understand that I love teaching. But that does not mean that that's the area I major in. No. But educational psychology has to do with application of psychological principles in learning. Okay, it helps individuals to develop. They help individuals to develop different learning methods that are best suited for them, and also help the teachers to know their students and know the best teaching methods that their students should employ in order to do what? To bring about the best learning experience, and to help the children or the college students or the university people or the high schoolers to grasp the information they are passing on to. You know how frustrating it can be for the teachers if your students are not learning. That is because there are individual differences in learning. This person does not learn the way the other person learns. So it can be a problem if you don't get to understand these learning differences. So educational psychologist helps the students and the teachers to get well with the information that they are passing between them by applying different teaching methods and learning methods. Finally, in this episode, number 10, the last but not the least, is environmental psychology. Now, environmental psychology is a branch of psychology that talks about the different ways by which your environment affects you as a person. There is this controversy in psychology that is called the nature and the nurture controversy, which talks about how whether it is nature or nurture that affects an individual or that brings about the kind of behavior an individual exhibits. But psychology has been able to come to a consensus that nature and nurture all come together, to bring about the individual's personality and behavior. So environmental psychology is that nurture aspect where your environment, even your home, affects your behavior. For instance, if you're an introvert and you grew up in an environment where people around are majorly extroverts, it goes a long way to affect you as a person. Okay, you can become an extrovert without even knowing it. So environmental psychology studies how your environment affects you and how you affect your environment, and the different things you can put in place in order to get the best result of the kind of life you want to live, despite the kind of environment that you live in. Now, that is it for it today, my neighbors. We've talked about the 10 different aspects of areas of psychology. In the next video, we are going to continue with these different areas. Thank you for coming to my classes today, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you. Please subscribe. Please like this video. Please share it. I cannot overemphasize on how important it is to me and to this community we're trying to build. Thank you so much. Bye.